Hello, in the video. Today we're gonna take a look at a team here around the Shadow Walrein. Shadow Walrein got nerfed this season. Icicle Spear now needs 5 more energy, which makes a lot of matchups a little bit worse. Some people really complain about this move now because it's even worse than the Surf that it would learn, for example, the Lantern here right now, which I'm actually gonna go for. But to be honest here, like, this thing is still overpowered. This thing is still like super strong. I can still highly recommend you to run Walrein. This team went on a 10-game win streak as well, which is insane. I had like 2 games prior, which are not in this video, where I just completely got hardwalled. Like, there was literally nothing I could have done. There was complete hardwall from the beginning to the end. So those are not in there, but like the rest of my games that I played with this team are in here. I tried different teams before around the Walrein and didn't really work out too well, so I went back to an old classic core of Bastion and the MEweedle. You can run the Stunfisk instead of the Bastion, of course, if you don't have a Bastion build. I would recommend you to build a Bastion, to be fair. Like, this thing is still super strong in the Great League. People underestimate this Pokemon because it's like kinda, I don't know, stale. Like, you always get like matched up in like certain matchups and you don't really want to be in those. And it's not as nice and it's not as fresh, but to be fair, this Pokemon is still like super strong. It's like so strong. But yeah, we have the Medicham in the lead. Medicham in the lead is kind of necessary because you need something that beats steel types while also beating other fighting types. So Medicham is basically the only option. You could run also Toxicroak. Toxicroak should be also definitely fine in this role if you don't have the Medicham, but yeah, of course, this is basically the best format if you don't have any XL Pokemon available to you. Run the Toxicroak in the lead on the Saisorb of Walrein and then use something like the G-Fisk in the back. Should be also alright. The thing is, a lot of people also always ask me, if I run a Shadow Pokemon, do you have to have the Shadow Pokemon? Here, in this case, you don't really need the Shadow version, I think, for the Walrein. It helps you in some certain matchups, but I think nowadays, because you don't get to the charge moves as fast anymore, maybe the non-Shadow version might be even better. I just use the Shadow version because it's cool on the thumbnail, to be fair. It's just basically the only reason here. But both the normal version as well as the Shadow version are really good currently. We see an opponent here that seems to run a double charm line, at least I thought, but I'm gonna get surprised later on. We see the Kaiwei coming in here and they're going to shield this move up here, which kind of tells me they're most likely going to run the double charm line. That's why I also went to my Medicham now to catch the move, because I expected them to have another hard wall for Medicham in the back. I was kind of right with this, but I was kind of wrong with the Pokemon that they have in the back. They actually run the Noctowl in the back, which is something that I didn't expect. But this is still fine for me, and they're going to forfeit here anyway. Good game there to my opponent. Next opponent, we see a Lorantis in the lead. This Pokemon is interesting. This Pokemon gets to their charge move after 9 turns, which is very fast. Faster than a Medicham, faster than most Pokemon here. But it's also a little bit squishy, but it packs a punch. Like, Lorantis itself is a very cool Pokemon. I kind of want to showcase it again, maybe, because it's so cool. Like, it just farms down everything. It has like such a nice fast move for this kind of version. And the combination between the Superpower and the Leaf Blade is just very strong. We're gonna go into a Walrein now to build up some extra energy. Walrein is so cool just because of the coverage move Earthquake, to be fair. Because, again, I didn't even know that they have a Stunfisk in the back, but for Stunfisk especially, you will be able to go for an Earthquake, you will be able to bait this Pokemon out of here, and you will be able to knock them out with some more fast moves afterwards. Here, I guess the Shadow version is better in the Zero Shield scenario against Stunfisk, because you will be able to farm them down and win this matchup. But otherwise, this should be fine also without it. We see the Lorantis coming back in, and you see how Walrein can go to town. Like, this Walrein just destroying the entire opponent, and they're going to forfeit here anyway. Though it didn't really need my Bastion anyway. It's just there at the end, and we will see the next opponent. We will see a Medicham against Altaria. Kinda horrible lead, but also not that bad. Altaria really doesn't want to face my team here, by the way. If you want a strong team against Altaria, use this one. Again, also with the Stunfisk in the back, it would be very strong, but you have Ice Punch in the lead, you have an Ice-type Pokemon as a Saisorb, and you have a Hard Wall in the back. So, like, there's not a lot that they can do. Here, the Nidoqueen matchup got a little bit worse for the Walrein, definitely. As you can see here, we're gonna get really low, and I wasn't sure if I would even survive the Poison Fangs anymore, but because I don't get to the Icicle Spear in time, it's getting really close. If you don't have a good IV Walrein, you most likely wouldn't be able to realign here, but I will be able to realign, and I also will be aligning my Bastion onto their Altaria. I swap immediately into my Medicham for whatever reason. Shouldn't have done this, to be fair. Should maybe just farmed a little bit extra with my Bastion, but they're gonna go straight, I think, for one Shadow Ball here anyway. Fine for me, they are low now, I can farm them down. I will be able to win this game pretty easily with the Bastion, as this thing is just way too bulky. This matchup, especially against Trevenant, this is the main reason why I run the Bastion instead of the G-Fisk. Because against Trevenant, Bastion is just way better. You do way more damage with your fast move, you are not as weak against their charge moves either, and you have Flamethrower which hits them super effectively, so that's the main reason why I would at least prefer the Bastion instead of the Stunfisk. Azumarill, you might think, is a hard answer for this team. Let's see how true this actually is. It's kind of true, to be fair. It really depends on the moveset of the Azumarill. If they run Hydro Pump, it's a little bit tricky for your Pokemon in the back. Otherwise, they actually get hardwalled by the Bastion, which is hilarious. But here we just kind of catch the move on our Walrein. I mean, it still does a ton of damage, but it's still a little bit better than catching it on a fighter. We will be able to go for an Icicle Spear here. This seems a little bit weird. Maybe they're gonna get to like they're shielded up, but they don't. And now I can go for another one, so it's pretty fall safe there. Even if they want to shield it, which they do, I will be able to now farm them all the way down, have like an energy advantage. I will be able to have the switch advantage, and I will be able to go now in like for one Earthquake here against this Sableye. Will be able to get my shield back. Now I have switch advantage, shield advantage, not shield advantage, but like a switch advantage in general here. We'll be able to go into my Bastion and we'll be able to take those foul plays like it's nothing. And as they go for the next foul play here, I will be able to go for 3 more fast moves and go for my Stone Edge immediately, not allowing them to go for another foul play, still having half of my health left on my Bastion. Their Azumarill is basically dead already, and what they have in the back is even better for me. It's going to be a Skarmory, and this is a hard wall for the Bastion. Bastion just going to town here. We will be able to go for one Flamethrower if they didn't crit out before, but this is going to be fine anyway. Next opponent, Registeel in the lead. Very fine for us. Sableye is a safe swap, very good for us as well. I don't think they have a chance of realigning here because our Bastion is an XL version. I think we should be fine here, just going straight for some Stone Edges. We should be definitely able to realign here. They can go ahead and go for the foul play, can get some extra farm. What they actually do here is, I think, a very smart move. They're going to shield up this move as far as I remember. And they actually do. What they do here, by the way, is very smart by them. They're going to, of course, get my shield back here, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to realign and don't want to have the Registeel directly onto my Walrein, to be fair. But what this allows them now, they put me into a range where they can farm me down with a Registeel. Super smart move by the opponent. They're still gonna get hit by one Flamethrower, but I think the extra energy is worth more than the damage the Flamethrower going to do here. It's going to be like 30%. We're still gonna put them like at half health with our Bastion, which is nice. And we can go into our Medicham here, but still, they got a ton of energy. They had 100 energy. They still have the Zap Cannon here. We will be able to go for one Psychic now. This should knock out the opponent. We can see whatever they have in the back. And it's going to be at Altaria, where we have our Walrein, and there's nothing they can do. Walrein is still super strong in this meta, as you can see here maybe. 10-game win streak for like certain reasons, of course. This thing is still strong. Of course, the team around it is super strong as well, super bulky as well. Very annoying to deal with, but I had a great time running this team. Like, honestly, it was a ton of fun. We see an Azumarill in the lead. Again, we actually went into this match later than my opponent, I think, so it was a little bit awkward to throw the moves in the beginning here. We will be able to go for one Psychic, and we will be able to catch the move here now on our Walrein. I think they actually went one bubble above their energy limit, so they're exactly at 100 energy now, which is interesting because I think they kind of messed up there like a little bit, not really a huge amount. We see the Cresselia coming in here. They throw the Grass Knot before I can go for another Icicle Spear. Smart move from them. Will allow me to go though to my Bastion, and Bastion is a hardball for the Cresselia. It's more like a Bastion showcase, to be fair, but like Bastion gets set up basically by the Walrein, which is all that I really wanted anyway. Cresselia can't do anything against Bastion. There's nothing that they can do here. Like, they can go for Grass Knot. It's still going to hurt a little bit, but it's not really hurting me too much here. We can go for one Stone Edge, knocking them out, and we will see the Azumarill coming back in. If Azumarill has a Hydro Pump there, it's going to be a little bit of a trickier one. We see that they're going to shield up, and we see an Altaria coming in. Fine for us so far. I think I'm going to keep my shields alive, to be fair, and I tried to go for another Ice Punch here in time, didn't work out, but I think I'm going to no shield this anyway, and let's see what we can do here. They're gonna go for one Sky Attack, fine for us. We're going to see that they're going to try to underfarm there, like try to get more damage on themselves. I'm gonna go for an Ice Punch. I thought I would already have the Psychic here, but I was a one short, so went for one more counter. but now it's Bastion against an Azumarill. I'm going to no-shield the first one. If it's a Hydro Pump, I would be dead, but they go for Play Rough, which basically means to me they go running the Hydro Pump and the Play Rough, so I'm going to shield up the next one as well. They should not be able to get to another move in time. I will be able to farm them down, and I will be able to win this game. Next opponent, we see the Trevenant again. Again, the Azumarill matchup as well as the Trevenant matchup make the Bastion just the better pick, to be fair. Also a ton of Noctowl currently in the meta, which actually the matchup against Stunfisk is not as easy for them. So for the Bastion, I think is actually definitely a very good pick in the current meta. As we see also one on our opponent's side, we will be able to hit the Earthquake here. Sadly doesn't knock them out, but we get one shield at least back from them. And we can go into our own Bastion now. What we do here is we just farm them all the way down. We're gonna get a ton of energy. They don't want to get hit by one Flamethrower with their Trevenant. Let's see what they have in the bag. They're going to have in the bag one Drapion. This is actually interesting as we can go for one Stone Edge. Let's see what move they have. Do they run the Awkward Tail? Do they run the Crunch? They run the Awkward Tail. Awkward Tail is of course a little bit more awkward, but we will be able to get the final shield by them here with the Stone Edge. I will be able to swap out into my Medicham and take the move here easily, which now allows me to go for an Ice Punch against the incoming Trevenant, which is amazing as I will be able to now farm them all the way down with my Bastion afterwards. They can farm me all the way down here, fine for me. I will be able to go into my Bastion, go for one fast move, go for the shield, will be able to shield up the Shadow Ball, knock them out with the one fast move, and we have our Bastion now aligned against this Drapion. Go for one Stone Edge here. Shadow Drapion doesn't like the Stone Edge. Shadow Drapion gonna go down, and Bastion going to win this game. Next opponent, Bastion in the lead. Fine for us, we have a very decent lead against us. We see the Sableye coming in here, and again we will be able to win this matchup, I think, all of the time. They can go for 2 charge moves usually, but doesn't really matter too much. We can go for one Stone Edge now. Do they want to shield this? Do they not want to shield this? Let's see what they want to do. They want to shield this move up. Interesting decision. We can let the next move still go through, but we have to shield the next one afterwards. But this is fine for us. They will be able to farm us down then with their own Bastion. I could have also thought of just going for the no shield and try to go both shields down for the opponent, because then we would have been able to farm them down with our Walrein, would have been able to go for an Earthquake and would have been fine as well. But they're going to go ahead, go into the Bastion. We both have the same amount of shields, but I have switch advantage and I will be able to go for one Flamethrower here to do at least some pre-damage to the opponent. And this is not enough. The farm down goes on, and we will be able to go into our Medicham now. Interesting what they're going to have in the back here. We will see that they can stay in here. They're going to go for another Flamethrower. Let's see what they're going to have in the back. We see the Flamethrower coming through, and we see a Jellicent coming in. This is horrible. They basically hardwall both our Medicham as well as our Walrein. And at this point of time, I have no idea how to win this game anymore. There's not a lot that I can do here, to be fair. I will be able to shield up the first move, going to be the Shadow Ball. I can go for the bait here, trying to get the shield from the opponent. Will be able to, which is amazing, which means I can go for another Earthquake against them. They're gonna go for the Shadow Ball now. They need only a few more moves to get to the next Shadow Ball. I can go straight for it, but they decide to surrender for whatever reason. I think this match was closer than they thought, but I think I still would have been fine, to be fair. I would have got to the Earthquake, and I should have been fine. Next opponent, we see a Tapu Fini coming in. This is going to be a little bit interesting. Tapu Fini is something that I don't really have a good answer with. Like, against the Azumarill, we are okay-ish, like also not fine, but against Tapu Fini, it's a little bit tricky. And we will see that they go for the bait. Great bait by them, and even a better bait now, because it's going to be another serve. I didn't really count the moves. I was a little bit tired already, I'm sorry. It was late at night. We see the Earthquake coming through. We're going to knock them out, and we see the 9 hits coming in now. And I should have not went for the Earthquake here, because this Earthquake will actually get shielded, which was kind of obvious. And I can get to another Icicle Spear, and I would have been able to even go for, I think, 3 Icicle Spears against them instead of going for an Earthquake there. But yeah, it didn't really work out too much for me. They can go for an Overheat, and they have the Azumarill in the back. At this point, I was like, there's no way that they have the Hydro Pump, right? Like, if they have the Hydro Pump, this game is over. Like, I just have to hope that they run Play Rough and Ice Beam. Let's see what they're going to actually run here. They are going to run the Hydro Pump. And at this point, this game is over. I will be able to still knock out this Azumarill because we can take one Play Rough on the Medicham. But this, sadly, is the end of the 10-game win streak of this team, in a game that definitely was winnable for me as well, if I played it better, if I didn't get baited twice, and if I like it did bait them when they shielded my move up, so this was more on me. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. This team is still overpowered, like Walrein still super good in the meta. Don't be scared to use it, and I hope I see you in the next video. Leave a like on this video, please, and subscribe. Bye.